Hey folks, I'm back. It's been a while. I did some things off camera last weekend, and I installed strings, bridge, tailpiece, tuners, and some just a volume and output to get it working. And the pickup I have on here right now is just, I think it was a pickup from an old Epiphone SG that I had a long time ago. And whenever I switch pickups out, I always save the old pickups just for testing purposes, and that's pretty much what this is for. It's what I put it in here for, and the pickup actually sounded pretty good. It took a while for me to get the guitar intonated. As you know, I originally had this bridge on here, but I didn't like the string spacing. It was a little too close together, so I have this old roller bridge I got from an old hollow body. I think it was my bassist for my old band. I think it was his. It was trash, so I just stripped the parts off of it, used it on several different other builds, and kept this bridge around, and it served its purpose. This is why every time I have a guitar or an old beater or something, I save all those pieces. And also, I did a lot of filing on a nut. I got the Grizzly pack of nut files, and these did a great job on lowering this nut for me, because the action on the top, on the first fret, was really high, and now it's at a very, very comfortable low action. And the neck isn't bad, but a little bit of buzzing on the higher frets. It's very resonant. I can feel the vibration all the way up and down the body and the neck, so it's ringing real nice. So, you know, it actually didn't sound bad for a guitar that cost me, for a body and neck that cost me about $100. So now what I'm doing today is excuse me, I'm going to be installing a couple new pickups which I got from GFS. It's going to be a GFS build, so everything's GFS. I got these loudmouth pickups, which are really cool looking. They have these giant slugs in there, and I have the big mouth set, which is basically the same thing except with a lot. Basically, these are, I think the bridge on these is rated about 10 or 11, and the bridge on the loudmouth pickups are, I think, about 14, so a lot more power on those, and I have those on one of my guitars that I use all the time with actually, let me go grab that so you can see. This was the first guitar I built about 2 or 3 years ago, and I designed the body kind of a Telecaster slash Les Paul style. It has a GFS neck on it that I love, which one day I might actually replace this nut. I'm not exactly sure what that's made of, but it's good enough for what I needed to do. Also, on the pickups, since these are very loud and a lot of power in these, I also got some of the Seymour Duncan triple shots, which gives you series, parallel, humbucking sounds, and the north coil, south coil, single coil sound. So I push these to the right. I got the south coil, push these to the left. I got the north coil in the series outside, parallel on the inside, and I got both of those on here. 500K pot, typical switch, bridge. I had a second volume knob on here, but I just realized that I never actually used, never actually messed around with that too much, so I took it off. And on this build, though, I'll put this back. On this build, I am going to just have coil splitters on here some coil tapping switches, double pull, double throw, typical 6-pin switch, coil tap both of the pickups, and that's to give me a few more sounds, because I just love having multiple sounds on one guitar. And I think I had just one guitar that's pretty standard, which is my Z body, my GFS Z guitar that has the Seymour Duncan Dimebucker set that has the Dimebucker in the bridge and the 59 in the neck, 59 bridge on the neck, which is what Dimebag used, and I love that set too. But that's strictly my metal guitar. So if I want a heavy metal, real grinding, high gain sound, that's definitely what I end up using. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the strings off the guitar, or loosen them, see if I could get this out without taking the strings off, which will probably be a pain, but it doesn't hurt to try. Save myself the time, save myself a pack of strings, even though I got maybe 10 sets sitting around here somewhere. And take the knob off, throw that in my little, don't lose any of these. Take the pickup out, take the volume control out, and then once I take all the electronics out, I'm going to lay this out. Actually, give me a couple minutes and I'll take all this stuff out and I'll show you exactly what I'm doing. Okay, I'm back. I was able to fish these out, fish out the electronics without popping all the strings off, because later on when I get everything in here, I want to do a test run, of course, before I finish sanding this, or sanding it to where I like it. But anyway, got a piece of paper. I'm going to lay this down here, and this is just strictly to find out where all my controls are. Okay, that's it. Got, since I'm not, oh wait, that was a jack. Got that other volume or tone slot, or that hole for a tone. Okay, there we go, that's it. And I'm going to transfer that onto this piece of cardboard, and I'm going to stick the volume pots up here. Still debating whether I'm going to have a tone pot or not. I might actually put a tone pot in this. Most of the guitars I build normally don't have one, because I almost never use them. On a rare occasion I'll use them in my Ibanez Talman that has the 3 lipstick pickups, but most of the time I don't. So I'll probably have volume, tone, and I'm going to have the switches here. And yes, the holes are a little bit bigger on here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount them onto these quarters. How? Well, I'm going to drill 2 holes right down the middle, slap those on here, try to center them as best as possible, and I'll have my switches right there. Not the greatest of access, but you know, I didn't want to fill these holes up, and like I said, I'm going to do a very crazy, crappy stain on this top, so this top doesn't feel like it's going to suck in a lot of stain, so it's going to be a really rough finish, which is kind of what I wanted to do with this anyway. So, so I'm going to mount those on here. I'm either going to let the switches, the bolts, the nuts on the switches hold them in, or I'm going to screw them down. But I don't know. It's a tough decision at the moment. I'm still going through it on my head, but I know I'm going to drill the holes for the switches first. So I will be back later. So I'm going to do all this fun stuff. I'm going to get the pickups wired, make sure they work, and then have the fun part of drilling these holes. And then the really fun part is trying to get all this wiring into the body. So there's going to be a lot of fishing in there with some yarn and trying to pull all these little parts through the right holes, because there's no control cavity in the back cover, which makes it a little inconvenient for wiring this. It's just a pain. It's totally doable. It took me a while to just get the volume pot and the jack in there. That took some doing, but it is possible. Just got to take your time with it and be patient with it, which I'm not most of the time, but it was doable and I got it done. It worked. So anyway, enough talking. Be back later. Okay, just back real quick. Basically, here's the schematic of what I'm going to do for the wiring. There's going to be a volume, tone, and a coil tap for each. Yeah, this diagram I got from guitarelectronics.com has the push-pull pots for the volume and tone, but works the same way if I just use the toggle switches. Can't really find a diagram with just, one volume, one tone, and 2 coil splitters. So that's not a big deal, though. I'm just gonna go off of this and it'll work just fine. So once I get that, figure out the actual wiring colors for the wires. They have north start, north finish, south start, south finish, and that's for basically each of the pickup. So it's just a 4-wire humbucker. Each of the coils on here will have 2 wires each, so we can split them and do all kinds of fun stuff with them and figure out the color codes and exactly where we're going to go. I got this from somewhere. I can't remember what site this was on. I just found this on just doing a Google search. I had a sheet printed out a long time ago, but after an email to GFS, they pretty much stated that their wiring is the same as the Seymour Duncan. So just follow these color codes and we'll be good. Okay? Alright. Back later. Yeah, I'm back. I got some of the wiring in here, but I'm just going to give it a little tip on soldering these components. As you can tell here on top of the tone pot, you see a little scuffing there. What I did is rough that area up with just one of my flat needle file. And that's just to give the solder something to sit on and grip on. And that's kind of key, because if you put it on a smooth surface, and this isn't perfectly smooth, but I like to do that anyway, just to give some extra grip on the solder. If you put it on a really smooth surface, it won't stick as well. And another key thing to do while soldering is you got to heat up the component first and let it sit. So put my soldering iron on here, heat that area up, just wait a bit, and I got this set at my soldering station here at 45 degrees. It's a maximum with this thing, but let's get that on there, and that's it. Could probably do a lot less than that. It's probably too much, but it doesn't hurt to have a lot on there. One thing you got to be careful of is you don't overheat it. You want to heat it enough to where the solder sticks on there, stays on there, gets nice and solid, and when you're soldering, you don't blow the solder to speed up the drying process. You want it to dry naturally, so you get a nice solid solder on there, because if you got a bunch of gaps in the solder, it's not gonna, you might get some wiring problems later down the line when it starts shifting around and there's some gaps inside the solder where some air got in and didn't fully dry. So let that sit there for a bit. And I got a little capacitor here, got this from GFS too, so this is going to go here and this is going to go on top of that. So I put some solder on this section here, on this lug here already, so warm that up, open up a little spot. That's good. And let me thread that through. It's going to go like this, and I will clip the excess off. I'll just have it sit just about like that. Well, actually, let me back this off a little bit. I don't want to get too close to the actual capacitor. So we'll do that. Let's see if I can get something to sit here. And a piece of tape. Get it in the position I want. Right about there is good. So, your solder, iron, heat this area up. Just give it about 10 seconds. And then slowly put the solder on there. And there you go. That's it for that. Give that a few seconds to dry off and cool down a bit. Patience. I was about to pull that off, but that was good. Okay, so that's sitting on there. The reason I put that tape on there so I don't push this thing out of position and get it to where I want, so it stays in one spot. And now I can do that. And get this out of my way here and just clip this extra wiring off. That's that. That trash box. Lift that up. Okay, let's push that down so it sits down perfectly, or close to. So use my hand here to heat up that solder that's there already. That's it. And seal off the top. And you don't want to overheat your capacitor either, it's not going to work. That's it. That's a lot more solder than I'd like on there, but it'll do. It'll hold, and this should work. Now I've got to wire the toggle switches onto the pot, onto the ground on the volume control. Then I'm going to hook up the pickups and test her out of my little orange amp. Okay, be back later. Okay, I'm back. It's wired. Plugged it in, haven't tested. So here we go. Okay, let's go with the bridge. Sounds good. Yes. Neck. Good. Middle. Good. Let's go to the bridge and tap. Good. Let's go to neck. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but when I push these guys up, and there we go. I'm not sure if you could hear that buzz, but it's saying the bridge is tapped. I was flicking the wrong switches, that's why I was worried for a second. So that means we got single coils. There you go, wiring's done. You know, part of me wants to just go ahead and hook all this up. Let me turn this off. Part of me really wants to go ahead and hook this all up in the guitar and get to playing. But I'm gonna go ahead and be good and strip everything off the guitar, sand her down, plug a couple holes I know that are in there. Oh, wait. Actually, I gotta drill my quarters. Go right through Washington's head, or I might go with the back just for the hell of it. Oh, that's cool. I got a Texas one here, and I'm in Texas, so I'll use that one. What do we have here? This is Old Man on the Mountain. Go with Texas or your standard Eagle. I'll decide in a little while. Anyway, I'm gonna get to drilling those. I'm happy this thing turned out great. One thing that's always fun is every now and then once you get it installed, sometimes the wiring gets thrown off or something, and you know, you get a lot of scratching. Oh wait. Got it. Test volume. Good. Not a buzzing, but that's for the ground later. Good. Good. Okay. Whew. I gotta always check everything before doing anything else with the piece, so that's good. Now let's unplug this. I gotta take the pickups off of the guitar, off of the little template I made here. Take them off, and then I'll start drilling those quarters. Make sure they fit okay, and then start fitting it on the guitar. Okay, see ya. Bye. Hey guys, back for a little bit. Yeah, that looks exactly like what it looks like. Part of the joy of putting these quarters in is that I have to widen these holes for the pots to sit in, or the switches to sit in, I'm sorry, to sit in, so it can come up, so it can sit up on top of the body. Because if I just let that sit in there and put the quarter on, let that sit in the body, there might not be enough thread to get a nice tight grip on the switch. So the switch's threads to sit on top of the body. So what I'm doing is I'm chiseling out. I use my big metal reamer to widen the hole close to the dimensions of the switch. Now I'm using my chisel to take out some of the wood that's in here. This will take some time, so I'm not even going to film it, but as you can see, there's some pencil marks on there of where I kind of trace out the outside of the little switch box. So that's what I'm going to be doing now for the next hour or so. Just trying to be real slow, take my time, be real careful that I don't gouge any more of this body than it already has been. So that's what I'm doing. So once I get that in there, it's going to sit nice and flush up against the body. It won't turn or move around or anything, and the quarter will fit nicely right on top of that. Anyway, bye-bye. Okay, my holes are squared, and that's exactly what I want. Now, it's going to be a massive pain in the ass to fish these through here once I get the wiring into the body, but the best part is once they get in there, they're not going to go anywhere. So now I'm going to strip everything off the guitar, give it some sanding, and start playing around with a stain. And again, if I mess up the colors or whatever, it's not a big deal. It's going to be kind of a messy project, but it's still going to look pretty cool at the end. But overall, as long as it sounds good to me, I'm happy. I'm going to be happy with it. All right, that's it for today. See ya.